Everyone has a little bit of their own style, and so it's us just honing in on what that is.
A home like this and a lot of homes that we're seeing here in Austin is, bringing that outside inside in. Had you noticed that you're layering a lot more natural elements into your designs maybe than you were 10 years ago?
Client will come with a piece of art that you already know, even something about just their day-to-day lives, something that inspires them. Keeping those classic colors, but brightening it up with pops of color and pillows, something that adds character but will last the seasons.
What are the biggest challenges that you face designing a project like this?
So I would say one of the biggest challenges is making sure that the space really fits the people that are living in the space. So, when you get into the family homes, it's making sure that everything's durable. Nothing's going to get destroyed. It's going to last 10 plus years. Quality is one of the most important things. And so just making sure that we're always putting that into every piece that goes into the home.
Yeah, and I think that's something that really shines through with O'Hara Interiors is they're such a client-focused company. Yeah, it's always client first. With that, what is the process behind textures, lighting? How does that influence or inform the design?
So with textures, there's a lot of different materials out there. Kind of going off that, we'll try to make them durable, but also soft, right? You want something plush on your feet. Fane Bell is one of our favorite rug companies, and they do these hand knotted rugs that just are so soft. And you feel like you really can connect to everything with it. And then, just making sure that the lighting speaks to the house and speaks to the character that we're putting in with the details of maybe the trim, the molding, the doors. It all creates a bigger picture, and that's really what we're trying to convey.
Exactly. I think that you nailed that so perfectly. And I think it's that whole home, that the whole process, how everything is going to be used by the home and the family and the lifestyle of the family. With that, what's your favorite thing to work with in the home? What's your favorite thing to source? I know we love the softness of rugs. What else?
I love a good powder bath. And so one of my favorite things is, making sure that we have like wallpaper or a natural stone, really just giving texture to the small space that we can create like a moment,
Yeah.
something that you pop open the door and you didn't think it was going to be like a wow,
Right.
but it is. And so it's kind of a fun room to explore different options.
I love that. I love that. And I think as women, the first thing we do, we go to a new restaurant, we go to a new suits, we check out the bathroom, right? We check out the bathroom, we're looking at the design elements, and that can really be such an impactful space. Powder baths, especially, that's guest baths, that's where your guests are going to go. So I love that. I think definitely the one that you did in this home was incredible. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So these clients love art. And so, they have a bunch of art on the walls, but we also really wanted to make a statement piece. So we did this beautiful blue and gold tile on the back of the faucet wall. And so it just really pops. And it, without having art in the space, it still feels like we have something there.
Absolutely. And I think that that kind of goes into what I want to ask you next is what's your creative process? Where do you draw inspiration from? What do you always go to? What's different each time?
Yeah, so I would say changes per client. Everyone has a little bit of their own style, and so it's us just honing in on what that is. Sometimes it's a client will come with a piece of art that you already know, or it's even something about just their day to day lives of something that inspires them. And so we kind of take that, we translate it into our own way, and present them with furnishings that really reflect that.
Yeah, and I think this home is a really good reflection of that. Everything is so soft and so inviting. This is a larger family. There's a lot of movement here, but nothing feels forced. Everything feels effortless. And I think that's a really classic aesthetic that I see in O'Hara Interiors. Everything just feels effortless and welcoming and soft.
Yeah, we always want to make it a classic look. Like I said, our clients are working with us to, have products in their homes that'll last them 10 plus years, keeping those classic colors, but brightening it up with pops of color and pillows and maybe a fun texture, something that adds character, but that, will last the seasons.
Right. I think that's wonderful. Were there any challenges that this particular project presented you that you had to work around? Landscaping, architecture, lifestyle?
Yeah, so I would say there weren't any negative challenges. It was all great challenges. So,
Okay.
really making sure that the house flows together and flows outside. That's a little bit different. This house is connecting the inside with the outside more than any other home we've really worked in. They have gorgeous views of downtown. So we really wanted people to walk in, enjoy this space, but also flow to the outside naturally.
Yes. I mean, I think you nailed it exactly. And what's beautiful about this home is just like you said, that connectivity of the two spaces, but
Yeah.
they feel separate but totally aligned. One other question for you. Behind the scenes, Obviously, a project like this, there's a lot of hands involved. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things to connect the design, the mood boards, the blueprints to the finished project, and the finished product. Tell me about, the people behind the scenes. How does it all come together?
I'm a senior designer, but I also have my assistant, and also just a team of other designers that I know I can rely on if I have questions that come up, but also our vendors. We're always reaching out to them to, know more about the products that we're putting in the client's home. And, if we have a question of, well, how can we fix this? How can we make it perfect for our clients? Vendors like, Cantoni are always there to assist and answer those questions for us.
Right. I think that's wonderful. And you've been with O'Hara Interiors for 7 years now, right? And recently a senior designer.
Yes.
In your time with O'Hara, what have you noticed? What's changed? What's next? What's coming? Yeah.
I was the second person in the brick and mortar here, and now we're a team of 6 just in Austin. Yeah, it's crazy to see the growth. But just expanding globally. We have clients all over the world, second homes, first homes, whatever it is. We are open to travel and just, taking our designs where our clients are is really our main goal.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. You all really have an accessible style to your design. It feels very accessible and there's no limitation to where the client is, which I think is really beautiful. Yeah, it's something that's really beautiful. It comes from what you do. Knowing that there's a lot of growth and movement, where do you see yourself with the trajectory of where O'Hara is going?
Obviously, I want to stay Austin based.
Yes.
And love it here, but would love to grow. There are all these new cities popping up.
Yeah.
Out in the hill country, we're really seeing a lot of growth. And even into different cities near the coast. And
Yeah.
people are really starting to explore Texas, and our
Right.
clients included. We are home based in Austin, but where can we get a second house?
We were just talking earlier too, so many clients now, especially, Texas summers are a thing. So they're flocking, they're going to other cities, they're buying, summer homes in more cool climates. So that opens up, you all to do multiple spaces that have completely different design aesthetics.
Oh yeah.
O'Hara Interiors is over 40 years. You guys are a legacy company. Are you noticing that your clients' wants are changing and the aesthetic that they're asking for is changing?
I would say so. I mean, we came from this classic traditional kind of style, and now we're moving into that more modern, but we're also moving into like a modern country sometimes. Like you said, a lot of clients are going to Colorado, even just the hill countries. I have some clients with like their downtown condos in Austin, hill country
Mhm.
ranches.
Right.
So, we're having to change the aesthetic a little bit to fit the spaces because we don't want something that just doesn't talk to the neighborhood or the land that we're on.
Right. Where we have to be mindful, especially in a place like Austin, is there's so much that's changing and there's so much that's being introduced into the landscape and people are wanting something different. They're wanting, something that's from West Coast, East Coast. So I think that's really impactful on what's happening with design here. What have you noticed with all the amazing things that you get to source for your clients? What's been your favorite design trend that you've seen this year and upcoming for 2025?
I would say I love that we're going into a little bit of warmer tones.
Yeah.
So we're bringing in more of natural elements as well. And so it's just playing with that like layers that we put into a home. It's not just about the core pieces anymore. It's about how can we also accessorize and style the space now.
Right.
So really finishing out the home because, people want a complete space that they feel is just somewhere they can go and relax at the end of the day. We're all so busy.
Especially in urban environments. I mean, your home is your retreat.
Yeah.
That's where you go to get away from the crazy of, the day-to-days. To your point that you just mentioned, a home like this and a lot of homes that we're seeing here in Austin is, bringing that outside inside and how nature is informing interior design. Had you noticed that you're layering a lot more natural elements into your designs maybe than you were 10 years ago?
I would say so. Also, we're all trying to be a little bit more conscious of what we put in our houses. And so I think bringing in the natural elements and just making sure we're staying very organic and clean in houses is also something important that we're seeing go into our designs.
I think so too. I think that people are being more conscientious and mindful of what's they're surrounding their day to day with. And you think about, there's a lot of companies out there that are being conscientious about the additives that are going in paint. There's
Yeah.
an amazing paint company that I just heard of. I think Alchemist is the name, and they have a rock based paint.
Yeah.
And it's incredible, but it's completely safe. It's just amazing. I mean, just all these new things that you're hearing about. What would you say is your personal aesthetic? If you had to put yourself in like a maximalist, minimalist box, or could you?
I would say I'm a little bit more of a minimalist.
Okay.
When it comes to accessorizing, I love statement pieces.
Yeah.
but I'm a lot like, my kitchen's very clean, with the few items here and
Yeah.
there. And then for colors too, I'm a good, like, what you see and reflect in this home is
Sure.
pretty strong in my own, very, simple on the colors.
Yeah.
I'm bringing it in with artwork and pillows and other items that you see.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Does it make it easier in your design process when you do share it that similar aesthetic with your client?
It definitely does, but it's also fun to do things that aren't, your norm, and so that are different than what I would do in my own time. But it is nice when you're like, "Wait a second, I wanna move into this house tomorrow."
Right. Right. I mean, that makes it hard to leave though, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, especially when their family is great, like this client is, so that's wonderful. What's your favorite design style to work with? So when you get a new client and they kind of, tell you their inspiration of what they're drawing from, what gets you the most excited?
I would say it's the modern, but the natural. Like, again, adding these layers and dimensions to the
Yeah.
spaces is really what gets me excited right now. And,
Yeah.
it's all about, well, that's a great stone sink in a powder bathroom, maybe, but let's layer some wood in the space too. Just
Yeah.
different dimensions to really create spaces and making every space unique in their own ways. So, maybe you'll do a ceiling detail and then maybe you do something with the lighting that's more unique in a
Right.
space, or how do you illuminate that room? So
Right.
it's really about playing on that.
And I think we're seeing lighting being used in a completely different way with, lit surfaces, lit
Yeah.
quartz countertops. I mean, all these things that, we definitely didn't maybe use light as a design element in the way that it's being used now. So I think I think that's very interesting. I know we've talked a lot about your role with O'Hara and, the legacy of the brand. Tell me a little bit just about you and where you come from and why design? Why design? Why Austin? All the things.
Yeah, so I'm from Chicago, was raised into a family that's kind of already into the artistic businesses, yeah, many different ways. I just knew that this was my path. From a very young age, went into it going to college knowing that was what I wanted to major in,
Yeah.
and mostly that I wanted to major in residential as well. There's commercial and that, but I was like, my heart's residential.
Yeah.
So I knew I wanted to go in that, went to school in Kentucky,
Yeah.
little outside the normal path, but they have a great program and focus a lot on lighting, kind of like you were talking about as well. So
Yeah.
just great different programs. And then met my husband there. He was from San Antonio. We'd come visit Texas all the time. San Antonio just wasn't our place, and we'd come to Austin, and we loved the nature that the city offers.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
came here, made it our home, and connected with OHI.
Oh, I love that. And have you've been with OHI for 7 years, so how many years ago did you move to Texas?
7 years.
7. So it's just here and then it fell into the best job
Yeah.
ever and never left. Yeah, yeah. There
It
you
worked out. They were a West company. They were looking for people. I was like, this cannot get any better than it already is.
100%. No, 100%. And I mean, yeah, wonderful, wonderful team to work with. You all are so incredibly talented. And what I really do love, as I mentioned before, is just how client focused it has been since Martha was heading the company and Kate has really brought forward that. But just seeing you all and the innovation that you all are doing and how you're shining through with your projects, it's been such a pleasure just to know you all really and truly.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
We love working with you guys as well. I mean, it's great, when companies just connect off the bat and kind of have the same vibes.
That's about all the questions I have for you, my dear Heather. It's been such a pleasure talking to you today and learning more about this project and you as a person. And thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.